Wait. So members of the church fought and died for the formation of California, and instead of fighting to preserve it, they left to Utah like a bunch of pansies? California history is Mormon history.
A Sutter's Mill, for heaven's sake.
We built this place. The San Francisco 49ers owe their name to us.
I don't see any textbooks in California that spend any amount of significant time on the history of Latter-day Saints in California. First Mormon president was William B. Ide.
Whoa.
This man basically started what we have now as modern California.
And Mormons designed our flag?
Yes, you just saw it. I just showed you the picture.
Dude, that is BA. I'm looking this up right now.
This state is steeped in Latter-day Saint history.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, back to Midnight Strike Through Mormons. I'm your host, Cardinellis. I'm joined in the studio by Lance Christiansen, who's an education guru here in California, as well as involved in a lot of politics here. And I just had to turn the cameras back on again because, Lance, you blew my mind here. You just opposed a bill that has all kinds of CRT and toxic anti-Christianity stuff, calling us white Christian nationalists and all that other stuff. And you brought up a good point that why isn't there more Latter-day Saint history in the California history books? Because really California history is just LDS history. Like really so is Utah, Idaho, Arizona, and New Mexico. You know what I'm saying? Because Brigham Young basically settled the West. But who are those first two guys that you named? I don't know. Just repeat what you just said, dude.
Yeah, so we have two of basically the founders of modern California are William B. Ide of the Bear Flag Revolt.
So you're talking the bear flag, like the California flags. Every time I wear my cool California hat, that's, that a Mormon made that?
Yeah, that's William B. Ide right there. And our modern California flag is just a derivation of that.
Yeah.
Right? But let me just read this piece here really quick. So on June 14th, 1846, a motley group of 24 American immigrants acting on rumors that they were about to be expelled from Alta, California, which is the northern part of the state.
Okay, yeah.
Rode from Napa Valley to the Mexican garrison in Sonoma. There, encountering no resistance, they captured Lieutenant General Mariano Guadalupe Vallejo. You may have heard of Vallejo. Yeah, that guy. What happened next is clouded by contradictory accounts, but according to the teetotaler William Brown Ide, he was made the leader of the rebel band after the national leaders succumbed to the Mexican general's brandy while negotiating in terms of surrender. However it happened, the Mexican flag was lowered, the new flag with a crude bear and a star and a single stripe was raised, and Ide was proclaimed by the men as commander-in-chief of the new Republic of California. Our first Mormon president was William B. Ide.
Whoa. That he was president of it was called
the Republic of California for a few days until they found out that the United States had declared war on Mexico. The United States came in. They basically said, okay, we'll give it back to the United States. But really, William B. Ide, who was also, as we find out later, ordained a bishop, we believe, by Joseph Smith. So he wasn't just some guy. He was here on the in California on the frontiers. And this man basically started what we have now as modern California. Most kids in your California schools have zero idea. In fact, his posterity, who had since left the church, because again, they were out in the middle of nowhere. There was no sort of like formalized church there.
Yeah, okay.
There was no church.
Okay, wait. So just before you continue, I want to make sure I got this right. You're saying that the first American president. Wait, no, the first Californian president was Mormon. Wait, what was that phrase you said?
Well, I would just say he was the first American president, right?
One of the first American president would have been George Washington.
Well, I didn't say United States of America. I'm just talking about the fact that Latter-day Saint president of California. So we can go back and forth.
So the first president of California was a Latter-day Saint, is what you're saying?
Yeah.
Wow, that's crazy.
So there was a lot that went on there.
And Mormons designed our flag?
Yes. You just saw. I just showed you the picture.
Dude, that is BA. I'm looking this up right now. Keep talking.
Yeah. So William B. Ide is kind of a big deal. And in fact, his posterity for generations left the church or wasn't affiliated with the church for some time. And again, I understand. He was out in the middle of nowhere for a long time. There was a while where he was the judge, the prosecutor, and the sheriff, I think, all at the exact same time.
Yeah, look at this cat right here, man.
He's a stud. I almost wanted to name one of my kids him, but I was done having kids. So
okay,
William B. Hyde's awesome. Then you have Samuel Brandon, right, who had the branch in New York. They took the boat Brooklyn. They sailed around the southern tip of South America, came up on at the time the Sandwich Islands, Hawaiian Islands. They made their way into Yerba Buena, get off there. Remember, he had actually thought this through. He brought a whole printing press. He brought a whole bunch of modern implements and tools. So when he got to the sleepy town of Yerba Buena, he basically became kind of a big deal. And Sam Brandon eventually, with other interests, mining and other things, became one of the wealthiest men in California, probably in the United States.
So this is the flag that William B. Hyde, a member of our church, actually made in the bear. So you said we still have it? Who has it?
Well, it's somewhere. I don't know where it exists right now, but
so it's not like in the Church History Museum.
I
don't
something? Think so. But have you ever been to the Mormon Battalion Museum down in San Diego?
Wicked in San Diego. It is awesome.
It's my favorite museum. The church should be doing that in Sacramento. They should be doing it in all sorts of places.
Oh wait, so you're saying that if we were actually effective in our leadership and understood the value,
so there are a lot of opportunities that are missed. Let's just put it that way.
Oh, okay, cool.
But when you look at this flag, this has all the markings of faithful members of the church that were trying to make California a place to go. Now, when Samuel...
So wait. So members of the church fought and died for the formation of California, and instead of fighting to preserve it, they left to Utah like a bunch of pansies? Is that what you're saying?
You said that.
This was made by a Mormon, and now we're just fleeing the state? Like a bunch of, I can't even say it on YouTube. Is that what's going on here, Lance?
Oh, you're saying it, not me.
But you're agreeing with it, dog.
Well, I want to remind my Latter-day Saint brothers and sisters, there was a great talk that Elder Lance B. Wickman gave in 2009, February of 2009. This is such a critical talk that I will never, ever forget it. We have the same name, but it was in a regional Northern California conference. I don't know if you remember this or not, but you probably didn't even hear it. But basically, he gave the talk about, here's where we stand. California, the Sons of California, as I affectionately called the talk. This is a place where we should fight. And who was
giving this talk again?
This was Lance B. Wickman, Elder Lance B. Wickman.
So it wasn't when Russell M. Nelson came here and begged us to stop moving to Utah, driving up all of the land prices.
He did that back in 2009. He basically said, listen, we don't need you in Idaho. We don't need you in Utah. Please do whatever you got to do. Do it wherever you are. Here in California, we have to build a church. And unfortunately, a lot of people didn't take that very seriously. And so because of that, we have people that are still fleeing the state. Now, again, I don't want to run and impugn every one of my friends who jumped ship and went somewhere else. They had their reasons. And they had to go to the Lord for those reasons.
BS. I call BS.
But
just like I call BS on all the Zoomers, they're like, "What do I do?" And like my personal revelation,
no, I'm not
conflicts with the prophet, and I'm like, I doubt your batting average and spirituality is so high that you're just like competing. You're like doing a home run derby with the prophet, and you really got a question: am I more spiritual than freaking Russell M. Nelson? Am I gonna hit a home run that's like even farther than his right now? Like there is so much crappy arrogance in that. I bet you 90% of these people are just acting selfishly for economic reasons, because their God is money and convenience, because they were raised in post-war prosperity in the richest republic that the world's ever seen. And instead of fighting to preserve it like a bunch of betas, they just sucked it dry of its worth then now left it for later generations.
I listened to the episodes. My son Brock and I were talking about it. Yeah. I think this is what they missed in that conversation. That they didn't understand the poem, the Light Brigade poem, was mind-blowing because I'm an English major. That's an incredible poem. It makes sense.
Hey guys, quick break to talk about Sheeple. It's a children's book written by one of our viewers, Royal Ragsdale, that teaches your kids how to stand up for their faith, stand up for their friends, stand up for their values instead of being sheeple. It's totally affordable and available on Amazon. Link will be in the description.
they didn't understand the reference to Zion's camp. Remember, all the first and early leaders of the church came out of Zion's camp. That was the place where you proved yourself. And frankly, there were people that died. There were people that struggled. There were people that got sick and had diseases. I don't think that the prophet Joseph was wrong for asking that, because a religion that doesn't require the sacrifice of all things is not a religion that is powerful enough to save you, right? Isn't that what we learn in Joseph, the teaching of the prophet Joseph Smith? So what I want to tell people is, listen, if you have a testimony of the prophet, then when he asks you to do something, you can go pray about it. Please do. You should. And President Nelson has told us that we can't exist without
that's been
that sort of
protocol since day one.
Yes, exactly. But what you can't do is all of a sudden become a cafeteria, Latter-day Saint. You can't just start picking and choosing what's on the buffet. What am I going to do? Oh, is this going to physically hurt me? Well, I don't know. There are a lot of things that I do that I don't enjoy or love. There are a lot of things I do.
Yeah.
There was a lot of things I did as a young father, as a bishop. There's a lot of things I'm doing now that I think could probably be done better. But guess what? It's like you said, what's the trajectory? I'm going to get much further ahead if I go the path that other people did when they made hard and difficult sacrifices to build this incredible state. Like, why are they so quick to give up California?
Yeah. So what should the name of this podcast be? Stop fleeing like cowards. Learn how to fight like angels.
It's time to remember the Bear Flag Revolt. It's time to pick up the flag. We've got to get back to this place. Samuel Brandon had a really rough end of his life. He died pretty much in poverty. He had made a lot of really terrible decisions over the course of his life. He was trying to convince Brigham Young to come all the way to California, and Brigham said no. But there are really, really awesome stories of Orrin Porter Rockwell up in Sacramento area. He had his own saloon and tavern up there where he used to host people.
Wait. So Brigham Young decided to stay in the godforsaken, dry, rocky desert?
He didn't decide to stay there. The Lord told him to stay there.
Oh, okay. Well, that's different.
Right? Okay. This is the place, Utah, Isaiah chapter 2, right? The tops of the mountains. They had to stay there. Huh. And it's just fine.
Well, dude, we got mountains here too.
We do too.
Well, we have mountains here. Imagine if California were straight up run by Mormons, and 100 years of theocracy had actually, you know what I'm saying?
Well, one of the first assemblymen, Jefferson Hunt, a polygamist.
By the way, I'm totally waiting for all of the woke scolds to totally clip that.
That's
like,
awesome.
100 years of theocracy. Just watch them go nuts, bro.
One of the first assembly members was Jefferson Hunt. He was a polygamist, settled San Bernardino. If you think of most of LA, a lot of the chunks here wouldn't have existed.
The first municipal building in San Diego was built by Mormons. It's called Mormon Rock in Cajon Pass because the Mormon battalion carved it. Yeah, like California history is Mormon history.
Sutter's Mill, for heaven's sake.
We built this place. The San Francisco 49ers owe their name to us.
Exactly. Eureka.
We said that?
No.
Oh, okay.
But Sutter did. And remember, Sutter had all the people that were in the river there where the gold was discovered were the Mormon battalion remnants that were making their way back to their families. Yeah. They just stopped over in the Sacramento area for a while.
Dude.
This state is steeped in Latter-day Saint history. I don't see any textbooks in California that spend any amount of significant time on the history of Latter-day Saints in California.
Why do you think that is?
Oh, it's obvious why it is. You can't give a lot of credit to a religious minority. Again, the state of Deseret was into California. We had a huge oh yeah, have you seen the map? Pull it up. Pull up the original map of the state of Deseret. It goes all the way through the Sierras. We had an amazing trade routes from San Bernardino through the mountains. I live up in Yuba County, just down like the street, like a mile from my house is Johnson's Ranch, where the people came in from the, what was that? The group that, the cannibals.
I'm not up on my cannibalism.
Sorry,
bro.
it's been a while.
Anyway.
So yeah, pull up the map. You'll see. Look how big that is.
Wow. Okay. So this
Check
is
that out. All of Southern California, basically where we are now, right?
yeah.
LA, all the way down the Mexican border there, most of Arizona, Utah, Colorado, Wyoming.
Wow. Okay, so this is the original state of desert. Okay, so here's a map that seems to look a little bit new. Man, I don't know. Yeah, look at that. Wow. And it's got Lake Tahoe too. That's one of my favorite places in California.
Pretty sweet.
Goodness gracious.
So California is not just some sort of like happenstance. This was all part of the plan. And, for a while, actually, it's interesting to look at the demographics of California for Latter-day Saints, because for a good chunk of years in the 1840s and 50s, there was a significant amount of Latter-day Saints here. But then Brigham Young basically called most of them home. He wanted them back in Utah and southern and central Utah. So there was actually a huge vacuum for a period of time until the church came back. And I think it was the 1920s, 1930s where they really started to rebuild the membership in California. And after World War II, we had a huge chunk of people that came home from war and settled in places like
Los Angeles
and the Inland Empire, and San Diego, Sacramento. That's why the temple in Los Angeles was built so early, because there was a big contingent of Latter-day Saints that was here.
Okay, so I didn't realize this, but the state of Deseret has its own flag.
Oh, you've never seen this?
Yeah, well, dude, that's kind of crazy. So I could actually fly a state of Deseret flag in front of my house, and it would be a historically accurate thing to do.
Correct.
That is actually kind of cool, man. Do they actually sell state of Deseret flags?
Yeah, there's a hashtag around there. You might see a few of these on.
Shut up, really? Oh, that's kind of crazy. That's kind of cool, man. Look at that. Wow, hardcore, man. Now, what's interesting, though, is I look at this map, and there's this other map from the Library of Congress that comes up, okay? And it seems that this went all the way to the border of California.
So different maps at different times, and it just depends on where you were.
Okay.
Right, and part of this was, where were the settlements that Brigham Young had pushed out? And really, if you look at that encapsulates cities like, I think, Vegas and Mesa. My great-great-grandfather, Benjamin Franklin Johnson, which a good chunk of the church is related to.
Okay.
His wife, Melissa Bloom, Section 131 of the Doctrine and Covenants, that was him. They were the first people that were sealed by the prophet Joseph Smith in Ramus, was it Illinois? Is that right?
Okay, something like that, sure.
He was the one that came out, settled parts of Utah, and then started moving down south. And so you go all the way down to Mesa. He was in Mexico for a short period of time. So if you look at that map, you see where a lot of the influences, they kept, percolating down south. They would go west more. I think it's a pretty decent map right there too. These were areas where the church had a lot of outposts. And so Brigham Young had responsibility over these areas. Upper California, look at that.
And look, there's San Fernando. We're just barely north of it. There's mountains. No, we actually would have been.
We're in the state of Deseret right now.
No, we're not. Okay. We're just barely on the border, because there's San Fernando. So we would literally be less than 10 miles from the border.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Look at that. Because that mountain range
Upper
right here comes, and that's like Burbank right here. So we're broadcasting, you know what I'm saying, by Disney Studios right on the border. So actually, who knows? Maybe along those mountains. That's the 210 corridor right there that goes out into the Mojave.
And again, I'm sure these cartographers were exact. So maybe the line did come this way.
Yeah, dude, maybe. I'd like to think that we were straight up. I'm still flying the flag. I'm still flying the flag. You know what I'm saying? So, okay. That's freaking awesome. Anything else that we forgot?
No, just remember.
So I'm going to title this podcast, Remember the Bear Flag Revolt.
That's right.
Remember your heritage.
I think when I would give this talk in church, people would come up to me afterwards and say, I had never heard these things. And
now, how much of that is a dereliction of duty of the church and local leadership, and how much of that is secret combinations in our state government and the Board of Education that hates Mormons, that wants to erase their history from the history books?
Well, I think it's a part of both. I mean, you have to tell stories to your kids, otherwise you forget them, right? I mean, I think that's partly a responsibility, but But yeah, the state doesn't want to have any sort of conversation about Latter-day Saint history or Mormon pioneers or the Mormon Battalion.
Because we might all realize the
Granite.
righteousness of our history and form a coalition that does not bow to the tyrannical insert keyword here. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. No,
all
there's,
right.
there's a lot of great stories.
I
We should
tried
be
to make a
telling
really
these
cool
stories.
barn burner speech right there and it failed. But, wow. All right, cool. So what can Mormons do to restore our state to its once Deseret grandeur?
Well, one is you've got to teach your kids correct principles, and they've got to understand. It's like was the Jonah Barnes episode where these kids, if they know their family history, they know where they come from, they're going to be stronger in how they go forward, right? So I tell these stories to my kids all the time, and for a long time they rolled their eyes, but now they're like, "Hey, Dad, tell me that story about William B. Ide again. That's pretty cool." They need to hear these stories, and they need to hear them from us often, because when they go to school, they're attacked all the time. But if you go to work and you have a conversation with a colleague like I did today, and just go through all these different pieces, there's a whole different level of respect that you can have. And I think we should be having these conversations all the time to deflect a lot of the weird religious kind of problems that we have.
Yeah. Oh, and last question. So is it true that California was named after that fictional land of Caliph? Yeah. What's that?
So Caliph, it's a Muslim place where I think the women were really strong warriors, but Caliph, as in the Muslim Caliph leadership, that's where the word comes from.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. So Muslim and Mormon origins right there.
Wow. That's nuts.
Most people don't know that because they don't actually ever study the English language or other languages. But yeah.
Okay. I just know that I want to straight up get one of these cool little flags, dude. Maybe I'll make a midnight strike through Mormons version. Anyway, let us know if there's anything that we missed here. Let us know what you think of Remember the Bear Flag Revolt. Should we make that hashtag, dude?
Let's do it.
I think that'd be pretty sick. But yeah, let's keep the conversation going below in the comments if there's anything we skipped. If there's any of your ancestors who were part of the Bear Flag Revolt or were part of California history, let us know. If you think that all the Mormons should just leave like a bunch of betas, then, let's do that. If you are one of the betas that left and feel a little bit bad about your cowardice and you would like to repent, you can confess in the comments below.
Not to me.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, not to you. Anyway, let us know what you guys are thinking below. This is Midnight Strike Through Mormons. We will see you guys in the next program. Hey guys, thanks for hanging out with us all the way to the end of the video. If you haven't had a chance yet, please like it. If you haven't had a chance yet, please subscribe or click on the alert bell so you receive an alert for all of our videos. And if you haven't had a chance yet and you've got children in your family, please consider checking out our sponsor's book, Sheeple. It's a children's book written by Royal Ragsdale, one of our viewers, that teaches your kids how to stand up for their faith, how to stand up for their values, how to stand up for their friends in the face of adversity so they don't become one of the sheeple. It's super cute, super affordable, and super fun. It's also available on Amazon for an affordable price, and the link will be in the description below. Please check it out. Tell them that Cardin sent you, and check us out on midnightmormons.com. Also, if you'd like, we have a little bit more content. There should be a video right about here and another video right about here. Check those out as well. This is Midnight Strike Through Mormons. We'll see you guys in the next video.